Yes, welcome students. Today in this session we are going to have a discussion on banking from your macroeconomics. I have done a previous chapter on this, so if you do not have knowledge about that, you can kindly go back to that lesson, go through it properly, because we have discussed all the basics of banking in that chapter. Today we are going to discuss functions of banking and functions of RBI. Now, students, you have to understand that for class 12 students, two questions, if I say sure short questions, which is very important. If you study those two, you'll be partly on a safe zone. And the two questions are, one is today, which we are going to discuss. This we have already done in class 11 also. Same only, just a brief discussion. So that part. And today, the previous video was on commercial bank. So two questions, if I say you, very important questions for class 12. Which you study, half of the syllabus of this chapter is completed. So what are the two questions? One is functions of commercial banks. You have written the note. And today, functions of central bank. Note you will get in your class 11th copy. Same discussion here you will get. Clear? So functions of central bank. Ready? Let's start. So what is the function of a central bank? You know what is a central bank? The central bank is the main bank which controls and coordinates all the other commercial banks in a country. So what is a commercial bank? You know, commercial banks are the banks which run with the main motive of profit maximization. Okay, and the commercial banks, they run and regulate themselves according to the guidelines which is given to them by the RBI. So okay, RBI and central bank is same. Okay, RBI and central bank, in our country the central bank is what? The RBI. Clear? So you know, you have done this chart. The RBI, they control and coordinate all other commercial banks. Okay? And then the commercial banks, they have a general interaction with the public. Clear? So the RBI is the first bank which controls and coordinates all other commercial banks, and then the commercial bank controls the public. Clear? So what are the functions of RBI? I am telling you once again, students, you have to understand the functions of RBI very properly. If you don't study the functions of RBI and commercial bank, then you will be in a problem. Because both these two questions are coming off 5 marks. If you study function of commercial bank, if you study function of RBI, you are in a safe zone. Once again, I am repeating that. So understand this concept very properly, which we are going to discuss today. So what are the functions of RBI? What work does the RBI do in the economy? Okay, so RBI has several functions. So we are discussing prominent 5 functions. Okay, the note you will get in class 11 copy, as I told you. So the first one, what is the first function of the RBI, students? The first function of the RBI is issuing new notes, or it is also known as the currency authority of the country. Okay, so RBI main work is to issue new notes in the country. Clear? RBI, what does it do? It issues new notes in the country which goes into circulation in the economy. Clear? So all the notes have been printed and it is being brought into the market by which bank? By the RBI. So it is the currency authority of the country. No other bank has been given what? The privilege to print new notes in the economy. Only the RBI can issue new notes in the economy. Clear? Okay. One exception is there. The finance ministry, which is there in the Indian economy or the country, our finance ministry has got small privilege that the finance ministry can issue 1 rupee note. You have seen a 1 rupee note? 1 rupee note can be printed by the finance ministry. Rest all the notes will be printed by the RBI. Clear? So RBI issues new notes in the country. So it issues new notes in the country and it is also known as the currency authority. Clear? So what most of the RBIs, every country has their own RBI. Like America ka apna RBI, India's own, China's own. Okay. So every country has their own central bank. So most of the central banks, they have divided their work into 2 parts. Okay, one department is the banking department, one department is the issue department. Okay, so it is this issue department which is responsible for note issuing. RBI, you know, the main work is not only issuing notes. RBI has to coordinate all the commercial banks also. So RBI, this banking department controls the banking activities, whereas new notes manufacturing activity is being done by the issue department. Clear? So banking department and the issue department. Understood the first point? So what is the first point? Issuing new notes or the currency authority. So the RBI is the supreme bank in the country which is solely responsible for issuing of new notes. No other commercial bank has been given to the privilege to issue new notes in the country. Okay, so most of the central banks all over the world, they have subdivided their work into two main broad categories. What are those? So they have divided the work into two departments, the banking department and the issue department. It is the issue department that is solely responsible for issuing of new notes. Is that understandable? So we are proceeding with the second point. The second point is again very important point, that is banker to the government. The RBI, the Reserve Bank of India, or the central bank also functions as the banker to the government. Okay, so as our bank are the commercial banks, similarly the government's bank is the RBI. Okay, any data, any statistics, anything has to be collected, so the government will always take into the charge of the RBI. So let's see what are the banker to the government functions of the RBI. See, number one, the RBI is an agent, financial and economic advisor to the government of India. Okay, so advisor. Advisor means what? Who advises the government on time to time. So the government of India is being advised on financial matters, on monetary matters, on economic grounds by the RBI. So advices are always given to the government by whom? By SBI? No commercial bank. Then who? The RBI. So the RBI is also the agent for the government. Clear the first point? Okay. So the banker to the government. So RBI is the banker to the government. So the banker to the government, the first point is the RBI acts as an agent, financial and economic advisor to the government. First point done. Second point, the RBI manages government treasuries. Whatever treasuries, whatever monetary things the government are having with itself, everything is owned and managed by the RBI. Clear? So the government treasuries, all the wealth of the government is being managed by the RBI. The third point, the transfers government funds. What does it mean? Supposedly that our Prime Minister has to send money to the government of America in this point of crisis, and he has to send, say for example, 100 crores of rupees, he has to transfer to America. Now, who will transfer this? In the bill of exchange, the name signed by whom? Narendra Modi. Will it be written like that? No. Then who is sending that money? It will be stamped and authorized by the Reserve Bank of India. Remember, no other government bank has been given this privilege to transfer the money to any part of the world. The RBI is solely responsible for transferring, exchange, everything is done on behalf of the government. Clear? So, the RBI transfers the government funds. The seal, the privilege is being only given and provided to the RBI. The RBI transfers the government funds. Okay? So, the transferring of government funds are not done by any other part of the government, but it is always managed by the RBI. Clear? Next, the last point out here, grants short-term loans to the government. If the government might, say for example, run short of money, then in that case the RBI comes as a supreme helper. The RBI offers loan to the government also for short-term and probably with or no interest. Clear? So the RBI grants loans to the government, that also with no interest if it is for a short term. Clear? So this is the 4 point. These are the 4 points that we have discussed under this criterion. Is it clear? Banker to the government, issuing of new notes. I guess it is clear. So that we can ahead to these points. The 3 points are here. If you have any problem now, if you can make your notes, or you can switch back to the video and go back, and if you think that the speed is fast, you can again go back and see it properly. Okay, so the 2 points are done, 3 points are left. Okay, let's start the third point. the third point which you can see out here, lender of the last resort. Okay, what does it mean, lender of the last resort? See, in case if a commercial bank, okay, if any commercial bank needs money, okay, and it is unable to manage the money from anywhere, okay, so that commercial bank can approach the RBI, and RBI always offers a loan to such a bank against approved securities. Clear? So if you do not get loan from anywhere, there is one person who is always ready to help you. Who is that? He is the RBI. So that is why it is known as lender of the last resort. At the last resort, you can always go and find yourself loan to the RBI. So what does it mean, lender of the last resort? Clear? Okay. If a commercial bank fails to get financial accommodation from anywhere, at the last stage, it can go and persuade the RBI. The RBI always offers loans to such a bank against approved securities. Understood? So RBI will always give loan to such a bank with the help of certain securities. So this is lender of the last resort. Okay. So this is the third point out here. Next is banker's bank. Okay. What does it mean? Banker's bank. And this one was banker to the government. You should not contradict both the points. You have to understand. Okay. Banker's bank means all other bankers, jitne bhi bankers are there. How many commercial banks are there? So all the commercial bankers' bank is the RBI. Understood? Banker's bank, banko ka bank is the RBI. And now here, banker to the government's bank. Partly similar but totally distinguishable. Understood? These are totally different and distinct. Okay, so this I want to make you apparent out here, that banker's bank and banker to the government are totally different paradigms out here. Okay, so the number 4th is banker's bank. What does it say? See, the RBI acts as a banker's bank. It means that the main work and the priority of the RBI is to function, regulate, coordinate all other commercial banks in the country. The RBI keeps a part of their cash balances as a reserve with the RBI. What does it mean? It means that all other commercial banks, they have to keep a part of their savings. Saved with whom? With the RBI. Clear? Everybody has to keep a part of their savings saved with the RBI. And RBI, what does it do with the RBI with that money? RBI helps to give loan to any other bank with that money if any of the bank needs. Clear? Say for example, I am in a class and 5 of my friends are there in the class. Okay? Now what do I do is that I ask for a collection from all 5 of you. So say for example, Sohel gives me 100 rupees, Sangeeta gives me 100 rupees, Guria gives me 200 rupees, understood? Resham gives me 200 rupees, and in total say I got a collection of 1000 rupees. Clear? Okay. Now you all are commercial banks and I am the RBI. Every one of you have given a part of your savings with me. I got how much? A total of 1000 rupees. Now say for example, Kunal, he needs a loan. He is in a crisis at this point of time and he needs a loan. So you all are commercial banks. Kunal is also a commercial bank. Okay, so I have collected your money and what I will do, I can lend that 1000 rupees to Kunal right now because he needs it. Kunal will pay me interest and that interest I will give it to you also. I will also eat that interest. But now I can help Kunal. Understood? So RBI also does like that only. RBI keeps a part of the commercial banks as a saving with him, and so that it can help to provide loan to any such bank in case of any time of crisis. Clear? So this point is very, very easy. You can understand this. Banker's bank. So that point you have to say. And one point you have to say that RBI controls, coordinates, regulates all other commercial banks. And second point you will say that RBI gives loan to any other banks, okay, in times of crisis. Okay, done. So clearing house function. This is the last one, students. Okay. So see what happens in clearinghouse function. You know that all the commercial banks has an account with the RBI. All the commercial bank must have an account with the RBI. Okay? Now, if one bank has to give him some amount of money, understood? Say for example, this is SBI and this is your Axis Bank. Okay, clear? Say for example, if SBI has to provide some amount of money to Axis Bank, say for example, SBI has to give 120.21 crores to Axis Bank. This is a huge amount. Now if I sit on counting the notes, sending it is a cash, means a very huge amount of this thing, money. Okay, so it is a very a troublesome kind for me. Okay, work for me to sit with the money, count it again, okay, and provide it to Axis Bank. So what I can do simply is that I will just give a command to the RBI. I can request RBI, okay, to transfer this much amount of money from my account to the account of Axis Bank. Clear? RBI के पास तो सबका account है. So RBI मेरे account से इतना पैसा लेकर के इसके account में transfer कर सकता है. वहीं पे बैठे-बैठे RBI कर देगा. You don't have to do anything out here. So this function is known as clearinghouse function. RBI can clear your claims. So if any bank has a claim against any other bank, RBI can also help in transferring the money from one bank to the other bank in times of crisis. Okay, so RBI helps in settling claims also. This function is known as settling of claims. Settling claims. Is it understandable? Settling claims. Okay, RBI can help settle claims of one bank against another. Okay, so it makes the process more easy, more carefree, more hassle-free, okay, and cashless also. So this is your entire functions that you have to do. I would like to remind you again, two questions, very very important. What are those? Functions of commercial bank, previous video, and functions of RBI, today's one. Extremely very very important. If you study two questions, you are in a safe zone. Okay, so I hope you understood it very properly. Issuing of new notes or currency authority, banker to the government, lender of the last resort, banker's bank, and clearinghouse function. Okay, so with this we come to the end of this beautiful session. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. In the next video, upcoming video, I'll try to come up with something new. So make notes, study properly, and yes, stay safe. Thank you very much.